For thousands of years, human civilizations have told a strange and unsettling story. A story about mysterious forces hidden somewhere beyond the edges of the known world. A story about a barrier built to hold something back, and a prophecy that one day that barrier will break. Across cultures, across continents, across thousands of years of history, we find the same idea appearing again and again. A destructive nation, a monstrous people, or an unstoppable force waiting beyond civilization. In the Abrahamic traditions, they are known as Gog and Magog. In Islamic texts, they are called Ya'juj and Ma'juj. But what is truly fascinating is that versions of this story appear in cultures that had little or no direct connection with one another. Today we explore one of the most mysterious recurring legends in human history, the story of Gog and Magog across civilizations, and what it might mean. In the Hebrew Bible, Gog and Magog appear in the book of Ezekiel. Magog is described as a distant nation from the far north, and Gog is portrayed as a powerful leader who gathers armies from across the world. These armies march toward the land of Israel in a final confrontation before divine judgment. Centuries later, the same figures appear again in the Christian book of Revelation. In this text, Gog and Magog represent nations that will unite under deception at the end of time. After a long period of peace, they gather for a final rebellion against divine order. But their uprising is ultimately defeated. The Islamic tradition provides perhaps the most detailed and vivid description of these mysterious people. In the Quran, the story appears in Surah Al-Kahf. A righteous ruler, Dhul Qarnayn, travels across the earth and reaches a remote region. There, he finds a community living near two natural barriers, described in the Quran with the word sad, meaning barriers, obstructions, or dams. The people ask him for help against destructive tribes called Ya'juj and Ma'juj, who spread corruption and destruction across the land. To protect the people, Dhul Qarnayn constructs a massive fortified barrier between these two natural obstructions, using iron and molten copper, forming a powerful wall that seals the passage. This barrier prevents Ya'juj and Ma'juj from crossing into the lands beyond. The Quran states that the barrier will remain in place until a time decreed by God. When that time arrives, the barrier will collapse, and Ya'juj and Ma'juj will surge across the earth. Prophetic traditions describe their numbers as enormous, consuming everything in their path, drinking rivers dry, and spreading destruction like a flood. Humanity will be powerless to stop them, and only divine intervention will bring their destruction. Across the world, many cultures have recorded end-time destructive forces restrained by barriers or hidden regions, remarkably similar to the Gog and Magog motif. In Norse mythology, during Ragnarok, chaotic giants and monstrous beings, such as the Jotnar, fire giants, and serpents, are restrained by cosmic forces and imprisoned in remote regions or magical barriers. These beings are held in check until the final battle, when the barriers break or their bonds are released. They march across the world, bringing floods, earthquakes, fire, and storms, challenging the gods themselves and spreading destruction across Midgard. The world itself trembles under their weight, oceans swell, and the sky is set ablaze. In Hindu traditions, during the age of Kali Yuga, demonic tribes known as Daityas and Danavas rise to create chaos and injustice. They are often described as confined by divine power until the final age, where they emerge and are destroyed by divine avatars, restoring cosmic order. In Zoroastrianism, texts speak of destructive northern tribes and demonic forces appearing at the end of time, threatening the world's balance before the final triumph of Ahura Mazda and the restoration of order. In Celtic and Irish mythology, the Fomorians are chaotic and monstrous tribes living on the edges of the known world. They are restrained by divine or heroic figures, but return periodically as agents of destruction, bringing famine, storms, and battles that threaten civilization. In Mesopotamian mythology, figures like Tiamat and the Chaos Serpent, or Anzu, represent uncontrollable, destructive powers that must be restrained by gods in order to maintain cosmic balance. From the Islamic perspective, this story is more than myth. The Quran affirms that Ya'juj and Ma'juj were confined by a barrier built by Dhul Qarnayn. Their emergence will happen only when God wills it, overwhelming human resistance. Only divine intervention will stop them, and their destruction will be sudden. A disease will wipe them out, and birds will carry their remains away, cleansing the earth. This reminds believers that even the most overwhelming forces remain under divine control. From a broader historical and anthropological perspective, the story of Gog and Magog reveals something profound. Civilizations across the world have always feared what lies beyond the boundaries of the known. Unknown lands, unknown peoples, unknown dangers. These fears often took shape in myths and prophecies. Perhaps the greatest lesson within this story is not about the creatures themselves, but about the fragile line separating order from chaos. A line civilizations have tried to protect throughout history, sometimes with walls, sometimes with armies, and sometimes with faith. And according to the traditions preserved in Islam, that final chapter has not yet been written. But it will be. Ya'juj and Ma'juj are real, divinely created people, confined by God's decree. Their release is a major sign of the end times, showing that humanity's greatest challenges are ultimately under God's control, and that justice and divine wisdom prevail in the end.